If you are interested in stories with happy endings, you would be better off reading some other book. In this book, not only is there no happy ending, there is no happy beginning and very few happy things in the middle. This is because not very many happy things happened in the lives of the three Baudelaire youngsters. Wednesday? Clearly, you could tell from the intro to this video that I am reading The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, the first book in the series of unfortunate events. Why am I, an adult, reading the first book in a 13-book children's series? Well, this series has always been very compelling to me. I wanted to read it when I was a young man, but I lacked the reading comprehension skills to actually read it and focus on it. I remember vaguely my sister listening to the audiobook, my older sister, but I've always wanted to give it a try. And also, this is the book series that depressed so many children from my age group. Most children's literature, it's supposed to make kids happy. They're supposed to enjoy reading it. But this book series is very bittersweet, very depressing. It's about three children whose parents die in a fire. They get adopted by an abusive man named Count Olaf, and then they just get passed along from guardian to guardian. And it's very depressing. But the writing is beautiful. Lemony Snicket has a beautiful way of words. He's so clever, and he makes a very depressing, sad book seem very playful. I'm really enjoying the ambiance, the atmosphere of this read. Because I was reading this sad read, I thought I'd read a very adult sad read, Stoner by John Williams. I read John Williams' book Butcher's Crossing a month or two ago, and I liked it, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. Butcher's Crossing is a Western. It's a Western version of Moby Dick. But Stoner gets a lot of love on BookTube, on Book Talk, and all the bookish communities because it describes the plight of everyday people beautifully. It's about an English college professor who lives his life, but bad things happen. He chases after his dreams. He doesn't achieve them. His life seems to be inconsequential. I feel like that resonates very strongly with a lot of people from this time period because it seems like we're all engaged in activity for the most part that seems inconsequential. Alienation from what we're doing. We don't find value in our work. We have trouble finding value in our life. And it's very depressing, but luckily, I don't relate too strongly to that because I'm very happy and satisfied with my life. I do have my dream job, and it's very emotionally satisfying and compelling, and I'm happy. But Stoner, a life that's being depicted in Stoner, is the life I always feared. So we'll see how these depressing books commingle in my head. Also, I'll be reading some more of The Stand by Stephen King because that book will take weeks and weeks to finish. But yeah, let's get depressed. Thursday, right off the bat, one thing I like about both of these reads is how over-the-top sad they are. A series of unfortunate events is so over-the-top, depressing, stark, hopeless, that I keep laughing, which I'm not sure is the appropriate response. These children are going through the ringer, but Count Olaf is such a funny antagonist, and the writing style of Lemony Snicket is so playful, so over-the-top, so witty, so, sassy, that I love it. I love when Lemony Snicket uses an adult word, a nice little fancy word, and then he goes on to describe it in a very sassy, pointed way. I like that. One thing I really like about Stoner is, gosh, this man has his aha moment. Stoner has an epiphany moment in the beginning of the book where he's like, there's more to life than toil and hard work. And he changes his entire life after this epiphany. And I relate so strongly to that as someone who decided to pursue martial arts as a career path. I had a moment when I was 15 where I saw cage fighting on the TV and I was like, I have to do that. This is my thing. And William Stoner has found his thing, but I'm not sure if he has the talent to pursue it. I'm not sure if it's the right path for him. And because the book opens up at his funeral, I know his story is not a happy one. So yes, I was looking for sad, hopeless reads, and that's what I got. Friday. It is a sad day. My toddler broke one of my front teeth. They were being a good kid. They were trying to share with me. They wanted to share their juice with me, and they slammed the sippy cup into my mouth and broke one of my front teeth. So now I'll be rocking the crooked tooth smile for 11 days until my dentist can fit me into their schedule. I'm quite sad about it. I'm reading Stoner by John Williams, and it is an amazing book. Beautiful writing, thought-provoking passages, great characterization, already levels above Butcher's Crossing, which is the first John Williams book that I read, and Butcher's Crossing was a great book. Perhaps not my cup of tea, but an amazing book nonetheless. Stoner is astounding. One thing I'd complain about so far, William Stoner, the protagonist, the main character, I'm not sure if I like him. He's an intelligent individual. He has this eureka moment when he's in college and he realizes that like English and literature is what he was put on this earth to do. He found his life's purpose and he tries to live his life chasing after like the study and the mastery of English literature and things relating to it. But he almost never makes his own decisions. He's always doing what he's told to do. And his life is turning out not to be the life that he wants. Maybe not the life that he deserves. His life is very much suboptimal so far in this book, about 50-60%. In many ways, Stoner is the opposite of Forrest Gump. I love the Forrest Gump movies. I haven't read the book, but I love the movies. It was very near and dear to my heart. Forrest Gump is the American dream. An individual of below average intelligence who achieves crazy success and acclaim by just doing what he's told. That's the American dream. Great results, very little work put into it. And Stoner is very much the inverse of that. He's always doing what he's told. He never thinks for himself. You'd think William Stoner has no agency and he's living with the consequences. And he doesn't even just get to take refuge in the fact that at least the decisions that he made that are making him unhappy were his own. And it's a very sad, tragic thing. I wonder where the story is going to end off on, because so far, it's looking quite bleak. The book opens up at William Stoner's funeral, and it's basically like, no one cared about him, really. And then you're seeing, like, the anatomy of this tragedy. So obviously, I'm not sure this book's going to put a smile on my face, but it's quite compelling. Saturday. I would have finished Stoner today, but I decided to let myself get distracted. One of my friends is about to read The Road by Cormac McCarthy. When I read The Road several years ago, I think there might even be a video of that book review on the channel. I did not enjoy it, but I did recognize that The Road was a masterpiece. I'm not the biggest fan of Cormac McCarthy's minimalist writing style, but I thought the graphic novel might be pretty interesting because graphic novels have one advantage over books, regular books. They have pictures, and since The Road was written in a very simplistic, minimalist way, I thought the graphic novel would be pretty good. And I was not disappointed. I would say it did leave out one of my favorite aspects of the novel. There's one part of The Road that I really enjoyed. There's this part in the book where the father is talking to his son about how they carry with them the fire of human civilization, and that if they die, that is something that will be lost to humankind forever. And that was not even mentioned in the graphic novel. So I didn't even realize I loved that part of the novel until I saw that it was excluded. But I will say, even though the graphic novel was not as good as just a regular book, I do think it's a more enjoyable experience because The Road is not a story that was meant to be enjoyed. It was a story that was supposed to wound you. It was a story that was supposed to make you uncomfortable, to make you think about the future, to think about human civilization, to think about, father-son relationships. So yes, that definitely fit the bill because the graphic novel did not make me feel good. But yes, back to Stoner and back to The Bad Beginning. Sunday. The final page count for this week is 666 pages. I hate that number, but that's what it is. I finished The Bad Beginning, and I finished Stoner. Let's talk about The Bad Beginning first. What a great opening installment to a children's series. Does a series of unfortunate events hold up in 2024? I think it does. It was very funny, surprisingly witty. I love Lemony Snicket's writing style. I loved how over-the-top, depressing, and bleak these stories are. It's like so depressing, so dark, so unlucky that it's no longer sad, it's comical. Maybe it just seems like that because I'm an adult. But that was one thing I really thought was funny about the Harry Potter novels, especially the first Harry Potter novel. Harry's situation is so desolate, so depressing, so negligent that it's so bad that it's almost funny. It's almost comical. And, The Bad Beginning had that element as well, that aspect of the read that I found super funny. Perhaps I'm not supposed to find that part funny. It's children's literature. There's not too many things that were surprising, but the writing was beautiful. The Lemony Snicket's voice is so unique, and I really think I should read more books from the author. I know Lemony Snicket's a pen name, but perhaps I'll pick up some of the other books that the author has written that are meant for adults. But yeah, The Bad Beginning, 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm obviously not the target audience, but it was really damn good. Stoner, on the other hand, now that's a book. 5 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite read of the year, but amongst my favorite reads. I had such a strong visceral reaction to this story. At first, I was expecting just to kind of be depressed about this individual's life. William Stoner is the protagonist of this book. The book opens up at his funeral, and it talks about how William Stoner accomplished very little in life. He had very few friends, and very few people attended his funeral. His life's a depressing failure. That's what I was anticipating. What I got, though, was such an extraordinary story about an ordinary man. It reminded me of the quote that says, the most extraordinary thing is an ordinary person, because William Stoner is so relatable. You will know a plethora of individuals that are just like William Stoner. People that just go with the flow. People that make mistakes, make good decisions, and they live with them, and they're haunted by regrets, and they look forward to the future, and they're just kind of being blown to and fro by all these influences in their lives. And William Stoner is an individual who lacks a lot of strength, but he's so relatable. I feel like a lot of people kind of just let their lives go any which way. They kind of let life direct where they're going to go. And though many would consider William Stoner's life a failure, I think even a life without all the flash, without all the bluster, without all the attention, it is still something to mourn. William Stoner had, petty squabbles with rivals. He dealt with stupid dramas. He, made stupid decisions. You feel pity for him. You love him. He's almost like a member of your family by the end of the book, because you know him so deeply. And then when he's gone, you mourn his loss. And I feel like he's a very easy character to feel empathy for and to relate to, because a lot of people worry that their lives will lead to nothing, that they won't be able to leave their mark on the world. And at the end of the day, worst case scenario, we only exist as memories for our children and memories for our friends, and our influence will have a fading intensity after we're gone. And, John Williams really captured that in this book. It was very moving. Definitely a thinker. This book is definitely a book that I think will get better as time passes. Beautiful writing. I love William Stoner. I hate Edith. If you've read the book, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, really damn good book. Pretty damn good week. To finish 2 novels, finished a graphic novel, got a few chapters done of The Stand, read 666 pages. This week was a really good week, but next week will be even better. I'm finally picking up Brando Sando. I'm going to read my first Brandon Sanderson book, and I look forward to it. I'm thinking I'm going to pick up one of his standalone novels, because I'm not sure if I'm ready to dive into the massive Cosmere universe, because that's quite intimidating. A fairly daunting task. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what the stories have in store for me. This week was good. I can't wait for next week. Thank you guys for watching this reading vlog where I read and I think about things. And I'll talk to you guys next time.